Amy Vohns is an Iowa inventor and entrepreneur. She is the founder of Little Sidekick, a company that creates and innovates. As she says, she is sanity saving with infants and toddlers. I would agree because I had her product with the baby. Little Sidekick products are sold in 4,000 stores worldwide. And most recently, her patents is actually a flavor infused product. And Amy, I'm not going to spoil that because this is new on who you're working with, but it's led to some major licensing agreements with Kraft, Heinz, and several other brands. And she is 100% female owned, and the product is made here in Iowa, which is just tremendous. So, Amy, I will give you the floor and I will let you talk a little bit about Little Sidekick and then also your new company, Flavor Factory.
Great. Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to be here today. As Christina mentioned, my company is Little Sidekick. And the primary foundation of that is we create innovative infant and toddler products. And it's really about making parents' life just a little bit easier. We launched, so many years ago. It seems like forever ago now, but in 2013. And we came about this, like most people come about this, is we had a problem that needed to be solved. I find most people, almost pretty much everybody you run into, there's always a better way to do something. And so many people just have in their, they think about it and they think about it. Well, not only did I think about it, but I really needed this problem solved. And the problem really came down to my son. When he was 6 months old, he threw everything that we ever gave him. And I was kind of a germaphobe. And thank goodness I don't have an infant toddler now with all the things we're dealing with. But at the time when he would throw everything, I would look and look and look, and there was nothing on the market to solve this problem that we had. And I thought, how is it after all these years of parents and having kids that we haven't solved this, and all the technology that we haven't solved this one major issue that kids throw all their stuff all the time. And so that was kind of my aha moment, is we need to create this new product. And that was the easy part, is we knew that there was a need in the market for a product to solve this problem that we were facing with our son. And that was 10 years ago. So like I said, we launched this in 2013, I believe. But it took us many years to even get to that point. And so my son is 10 now, and we started this when he was 6 months old. So it's been quite a journey. We started out pretty small, actually, and it grew really quickly. But we can get into that. Also, with this product is a lot of. Let me kick it back here for a second. I am sorry. It's been so long since I presented. I haven't been anywhere, guys. So it's been a bit. But anyway, I'm trying to think. Christine, is there anything that I missed in that initial intro that you wanted me to touch on?
No, because I think you'll hit up why you now have Flavor Factory down the road. So
right, exactly. So because it kind of all rolls into each other, and how the businesses pivot. But anyway, we had this situation that we needed to be solved, and we got to the point where we were ready to, hey, what do we do next? And that's where we find so many people getting hung up, is what do we do next? We have this idea. And really the best advice that I have for that is just reach out and ask somebody. What you'll find is when we started this, we really had to hustle because I had no previous experience in entrepreneurship or business. Matter of fact, my background's in mental health. I was born and raised here in Iowa, went to school in Iowa, and I never in a million years did anything in the business. It was all more psych-based. And so I was really playing in a world that I had no experience in. And so I had this idea. You would tell people, they're like, yeah, that's super great. But nobody was really able to help me navigate the channels to not only have an idea, but produce that idea and get that idea to market. And so that is where the big, what I initially mentioned, it took us 2 years to bring our initial Little Sidekick product to market, because it was just really hustling and navigating all those channels and learning what you need to do to get a product to a market. And so that was really the best advice that I ever gave anybody, is that if you have an idea, reach out to somebody, ask somebody about it. Try it, never hurts. And typically, what Tafiq said is Iowa is the greatest place to start a company, and I wholeheartedly agree with that, because the whole Iowa nice comes into play. Typically, if you reach out here, you're going to find that people are more than happy to, if they don't know, they're going to direct you to somebody who does know that. And so it's a really great thing when you first have a product to, or a product idea, is not only go to family and friends, but think about who can help me actually create this. And in our situation, it was manufacturing. So as Tafiq has a more food item, ours is a hard line item. So it's something that has to be injection molded and manufactured. And so there was a lot of steps that come in regards to figuring out how do you take this product and get it to where you can actually sell it. And so we had obstacles to overcome, such as engineering, figuring out how to manufacture it. And we ended up meeting some really great manufacturers along the way that are Iowa based that have been able to help us out with that. We reached out to Iowa State University. Actually, that was one of the biggest breaks that we had in getting this reached out. When you have a hardline product, like I said, it needs to be engineered. Because it needs to be engineered so they can go into tooling, and so the whole process can go from there. And we really didn't have any idea how to do that. And a lot of the colleges have some really great resources for you to get some of that engineering done by students. And so you're able to work with them, and they were able to help us design our initial product, the little Sidekick sippy cup strap. And once we were able to do that, we were able to take it to a manufacturer, and they were able to get some initial prototypes created, and we were able to launch our business. Once you have that product in hand, it really opens the doors as to what you can do. But until you have that product in your hands, you can't do anything. You can't reach out to investors. You can't reach out to buyers. You're really strapped until you have that item in your hand to be able to present it to the world. Like, this is what I've created, and this is what it can do. And then figuring out a way how you're going to communicate to the consumer and to the buyer that, hey, this is a really effective product, and we think it'll work great, not only to make your life easier, but to make your customers' lives easier. And so what we did to, once we were able to get the product in hand and manufactured and designed and the way that we wanted it to be, which again, this was a 2-year process. And I don't know if any of you are familiar with our product or our product line, but it's essentially a really simple product. It's a strap that secures around items such as sippy cups and toys, and really essentially whatever item you give to your child so they can't throw it over and over and over again. But it took a lot of engineering to figure out how to make it safe and effective and easy to clean and be able to keep it all made here in Iowa. And so once we were able to do that, we decided that we were going to take a leap of faith, and we were going to, without any prior experience or knowledge or knowing what the heck we were doing, we were going to launch our product at the world's largest infant trade show. And that was quite an experience. Again, we had no idea what we were doing, but we ended up leaving that trade show with about 50 retailers, and we were super excited, and they were all specialty boutiques. But since then, we've grown from those 50 retailers to now in over 4,000 retail locations. We work with Walmart, which is our largest account, Bye Bye Baby, several other large toddler infant brands. And then we also export our products internationally. Matter of fact, that's about 40 to 50% of our business is exporting our product to international distributors. And then we have large retailers throughout the world. A lot of people don't realize that the US is really only like 4% of the population. And so while it's a really great market here, there's a lot of opportunity when it comes to getting your business international. And there's also a lot of great opportunities for made in the USA products, not only here locally with retailers, but a lot of international companies are looking for those high quality products that go through the verification and the quality controls that a lot of people aren't getting from international companies and overseas manufacturers. And so really that jump from getting those 50 initial stores into retail, into mass market retailer, we had a lot of hurdles that we had to overcome. Again, there was a lot of hustle that had to be done. There was a lot of funds that had to be raised to be able to maintain that volume. There's a lot of things you have to look at. And one of the things that I would say is some of the struggles in getting into that mass market retailer is it's really, a lot of people don't realize that it's really easy getting your product and conceptualizing it. And when you think that it's difficult designing it and getting it to market, that's actually the easiest part of the whole process. Because once you have that product, the sales aspect and the growing of the company brings its own set of challenges. And another thing that I learned is that a no is never a no. It's an opportunity to grow. What we found when we were going to our initial trade shows and we were getting our product out there is that we had a lot of feedback, and a lot of it wasn't nice. They would love our product, but there was a lot of things that we were lacking. And that was just based on the lack of knowledge that I had in going into this space. We were kind of going head at it as fast as we could, just trying to get this product out there. And we didn't really have anybody to help guide us as to what needs to go on packaging. What is a sell sheet? What are SKUs? What are terms and conditions? How do you navigate vendor launch packets and freight and shipping, and what is it going to cost me to ship this product internationally, and can I ship this product internationally, and what all has to come with these things is some of the bad. It's the growing pains. That it's great when you get these opportunities, but then you have to figure out, how do we make these a reality? And so a no is a never no. When we first reached out when we first were doing the trade shows, again, like I said, we had a lot of feedback that wasn't necessarily positive. Actually, I had one buyer, a large retailer, that just grilled me for about 30 minutes on my packaging, which I thought was great. It had great graphics. It displayed everything I needed. But what I figured out real quickly is that it didn't actually tell the consumer what the product was. And so learning those things to communicate, the things you need to communicate to the consumer, because when you have a hardline item and you're in mass retail locations, there's nobody there. Kind of like Tafik said, it's great when you can sell locally, but when you scale to a national and international business, there's nobody there that can sell your product for you. So you have to figure out how you can sell that product on the spot. What can I communicate to the consumer on my packaging that's really going to help them to spend their hard-earned money on my product? And so we got a lot of feedback, and instead of taking those no's and beating ourselves up about it and say, oh, this is never going to happen and this is going to cost so much money, we thought to ourselves, all right, this is what we need to do to go mass scale. And the reason we decided to go mass scale is because we had a low dollar item. When you have a low dollar item, I would say below 20 MSRP 20 and below, and MSRP is essentially the retail price that you're going to sell that at, because there's retail pricing and there's wholesale pricing, and then there's distributor pricing. And so essentially what we do is we sell to stores at wholesale price, and then they sell it at retail price. It is typically in our industry, margins are really important. And so you're going to typically want to offer that retailer 40 to 50% margins. If you're not able to offer them 40 to 50% margins, don't even waste your time going to that meeting when you're going to a mass market retailer, because it's really the game that they play. They're looking at it's all about the numbers and your story and how you can sell that product to the consumer. Now, I believe in food, those margins are a little different. However, when you're looking at a hardline item, especially when you're new to the industry, they're going to be looking at a 40 to 50% margin. So for instance, if you sell to them for $10, they're going to sell it for $20, and so on and so on and so on. But anyway, so what you're going to find when you are getting into the business is you take that feedback that they give you, and you can either take it or leave it. And we decided to take it because we knew that with our low dollar item, we had to be in the mass market. We had to be able to sell bulk, like Tafik explained, and that's to sell mass quantities at one time. Because when you're working with smaller specialty stores, there's a lot of time. And the great thing about specialty stores is that you need them when you're launching your business, because without their sales data, you're not going to get into the mass retailers because you have no sales data. And that's primarily what drives their decision, is how many are you able to sell in a week time? All right. Are you able to sell 1 per store per week? Are you able to sell 2 per store per week? Are you able to sell 0 per store per week? It really just depends. And then you base what you do next based on those sales. So, hey, we need to, in our accounting, we need to be able to sell X amount per store per week to be able to, 1, recoup our cost, 2, make a profit and grow this company. So how do we do that? And so we realized that mass market was where we needed to be, and international distributorship, so we could sell in those mass quantities, which allowed us to grow, like I said, from the 50 stores to the 4,000 stores that we're in today, is because we really took a step back and listened to what they were saying in our packaging, and really took that time to tweak our product to fit their needs. And one of the easier things, the good about getting into mass retail, is once you nail it for one of those companies, for instance, you are able to get a Walmart or a Target or many Hy-Vee accounts, it's pretty much a baseline for introduction to all of the other retailers. So it really helps you not only build your confidence, grow your sales data, but it helps you get into those stores. And that information you create from that first introduction, such as your sell sheet and your packaging, typically if it's good for one buyer, it's good for the rest of the buyers, because they kind of all are on the same scale. So we're able to take that growth with our initial product and take those profits and grow our product line. What we did next is we invented the world's first flavored teether. So what we did is we took a really interesting technique in taking flavoring, because there was scented teethers on the market, but what they lacked is taste. So I don't know if any of you know, but plastic doesn't taste very good. So I don't really know why we're handing these plastic items to kids and thinking they're going to like it, because they don't. And so we thought, well, what can we do to up the game? And one of our main missions of our company is to create something new to the market. All right. Anybody can come out with a teether. All right. But what are you going to do to innovate? And that's really what buyers are looking for. What can you do to bring something new to my market that my consumers aren't going to see? If you're going to present a buyer, for instance, a toothbrush, well, they already have toothbrushes. So what's different about your toothbrush that makes me want to carry it? All right. Are the numbers better? Does it have better features? Is it made here in the USA? What is that differentiating factor that is a wow to me that can pull me in? And so again, we took that and we took all natural flavoring, we infused it into our teether in our proprietary way, and we had the world's first flavored teether, which opened a whole new door for us. Not only did it allow us to essentially double our sales, triple our sales, it allowed us to have a whole new business line, which brought on Flavor Factory. And Flavor Factory is a really exciting opportunity because it's a licensing opportunity. So it brought in a whole new set of problems, a whole new avenue of where we needed to go. But it's opened up doors for licensing, which is really new to us. So I can't give too much advice on it, but it's now taking us into markets that we never thought we could. For instance, a licensing opportunity with Kraft Heinz and launching the Kool-Aid flavored straws here at the end of the year, which we're really excited about. So that's kind of in a nutshell. Christina, is there anything else you wanted me to touch on?
Yeah, so I think we'll get into some more questions later, Amy, but I love how it's come full circle. And people who have questions for Amy, if you can drop them down in the chat. And Amy, you can take a look at the chat as we're going. We will go circle back and try to read out all the questions at the end. But Amy, again, she is doing some licensing agreements. If you have any questions around that, or if you have a hardline product like she mentioned, or looking to do international exporting. Amy, I think you're in like 14 countries or something like that. It's a lot, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Okay. Yeah. So if you have any questions regarding that, feel free to drop it in. We're going to keep moving along here to Terrence. But Amy, thank you so much for sharing today.